Nate Oats joins us here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
Good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fine. So, how when you got back to your room or your phone, how was it blowing up for you?
I shut it off during the game. When I turned it back on, how it gives you the blue thing next to the unread. It didn't even, all these unread texts didn't even have the blue thing next to them. I think I broke my phone. I don't know what. I still got I think I got 273. I'm not even trying to return them all. I made sure I returned my mom and dad's and a few close friends, and the rest of them can wait till this thing's all done.
So the blue number was 273. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what it was. But then I've returned a few here and there. Obviously, some coaches text me that can help me out on Kentucky, so I make sure I get back to them. But there's way too many. It got a little nuts. And
is it true that to make sure that your team, which now must focus on the next page, the next team, and it's no less than Kentucky, that to make sure they focused on it, that you removed their phones from their possession? Is that a true story?
Yeah, I did. I just knew. I mean, this isn't our first time in the tournament. It's our first time winning the game. Mm-hmm. So even just getting to the tournament, I told them, you're going to have kids you haven't heard from in 4 or 5 years trying to act like they're your buddies now, and you're going to have a million texts. And so listen, go enjoy it for an hour, hour and a half, too. We took them at 12:30. The game got done around, I think, 10-ish out here or something like that. Mm-hmm. So we gave them a couple hours, and then we took them, and we didn't have breakfast till 10. So they hopefully they all got 8+ hours of sleep, and we can be rested. But we gave them back. We charged them for them. We gave them back. They're free now for about an hour. I told them go ahead and return as many texts as they can, and then let's get locked back in when we go back and do video again this afternoon.
Okay, before we get to turn the page, let's go back. What did you guys see? What did you and your staff see that you could exploit against Arizona that you guys performed so well?
You know what? I thought. I mean, they played the 2 7-footers. So their spacing, and Sean Miller's an unbelievable coach, and so he's going to use his personnel the best he can. And having 2 7-footers, you obviously got to punch in the post all the time. But they were 312th in the country in percentage of points coming from three. So we were going to super heavy load up in the lane and make them shoot more threes than they want and keep the ball out of the post. But their spacing's a little tight when you got 2 7-footers in there, so it made it a little bit easier. Then the other thing is, everybody in the Pac-12, I mean, most of the teams zoned them. There's a few that tried to man them, but I didn't think anybody really got into their guards heavy with a lot of ball pressure. And we've got, in my opinion, 2 of the best defensive guards in the country, and Dante Carruthers and Devontae Jordan, and I thought they could blow up their guards and make it really hard to enter the ball in the post when we're fronting the post, and they did that. And I just, everybody's telling us if you got a zone in, this would be the game to use it. Well, we don't have a zone in, really. I mean, I put one in the preseason, never used it one time. Now is not the time to start doing what you don't do. I thought we could really shrink the floor and take away their post game. And then on our offensive end, they were going to have a really hard time guarding us, which showed up. I mean, Jeremy Harris went by Ayton at will, and Perkins was able to drive wrist stitch. They really just couldn't guard us with all that size on the floor, the way we spread the floor out.
And, we couldn't help but notice that, in the halftime interview on TV, you said we're the better team. And that caught a lot of people's attention, Coach.
Maybe I shouldn't have said it. I don't know. But I really I still felt like that. I knew going in we had a chance. We were going to have to make some threes, and they were going to have to miss some threes, and we needed to out-rebound them. And we couldn't turn the ball. That was the frustrating thing with me is we had 9 turnovers at the half, where we had 2 games in our conference tournament where we only had 8 turnovers for the game. I felt like if we had only had 3 or 4 turnovers, we might have been up 10 at that point. Knowing that going into the half, I really felt like we should have been up by a lot more, and I was a little frustrated, and I felt like we were the better team with the game plan we had and based on what was going on. And if we corrected a few things, I thought we could blow that thing open in the second half, and that's what ended up happening.
Nate Oats, Buffalo Bulls head coach, joining us here in advance of his round of 32 game against Kentucky. after a big, huge, shocking win for most of us against Arizona last night here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about your path here. Wisconsin guy ends up coaching high school in Romulus, Michigan, home of Terry Mills, by the way, who was part of the Michigan championship team from back in the day. And then I guess Bobby Hurley was recruiting somebody and met you. Is that how you got to Buffalo?
Yeah. That's pretty good, man. You got a lot of you're a pretty good guy with all that.
Oh,
Yeah, I grew up in Wisconsin. Played Division III basketball. I got a good friend of mine, one of my close friends, Ed Horn, was teaching at Romulus, convinced me to move out there to take the head job. I was a Division III assistant. I was at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater when I left to take the Romulus job right outside Detroit. So we built the program up, and then my last year at Romulus, we won the state championship in 2013, but my two best players were Wes Clark, who's playing with me right now. He ended up going to Missouri, and then I got him on a transfer after he left Missouri. He's our point guard here. But then the other one was E.C. Matthews, who was like a top 100 kid that chose Rhode Island. When Danny Hurley got the job, before Danny had ever even coached a game at Rhode Island, and they were awful, like E.C. chose to go there to play for them. So I built a really good relationship with Danny and Bobby. Bobby gets the head job after their first year at Rhode Island, and Danny and Bobby talked, and Danny recommended, and Bobby called me, and kind of history, it worked out great. And I give Bobby a lot of credit for taking a high school coach and then making him his top assistant, his first head coach. But I think, the fact that their dad was such a good coach and stayed in the high school ranks helped me out a little bit. They had a little bit more respect for high school coaches than what some typical Division I guys would. And then, it's kind of history from there.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how this works, right, Nate? A guy from Wisconsin makes his high school bones in the state of Michigan, gets hired in Western New York, and has the biggest win for that area in Idaho. It's amazing how that works. Right?
It is a little different.
Can't make it up.
This is my first time in Boise. I love it out here in Boise. I told somebody we might have to get a vacation home out here the way they've been treating us.
I bet you must never want to leave.
Let's stay here. They got about 6 inches of snow in Buffalo. It was 70 here in Boise the other day. Like, let's hang out in Boise. My wife's from Colorado, so it looks a lot like Colorado. She's in heaven out here with the mountains and stuff. Let's just hang out in Boise for another week.
Well, and look, obviously most of us are familiar with the rabid fan base of Western New York because of the Buffalo Bills and obviously the Sabres. And I'm wondering how that this win went back, how it went over back home, Coach.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know if you remember that we had a kid hit the half-court shot. It was all over Scott Van Pelt show and all that. Yeah, so that same kid, Kyle, he busted the table, the Bills Mafia and the whole tailgating deal.
Yeah.
So he went through the table, so he's another internet sensation. So the fan base has been great, though. Buffalo's kind of embraced this. They used to have the NBA team, the Braves. Now there's no NBA team, so we're Buffalo's basketball team now, and if we can get, we're trying to create Bulls Mafia just like they got Bills Mafia going. It's well on its way too.
Hey, you beat Kentucky, you can write your ticket there, Nate. I'll tell you that. I mean,
no, it'll be great. Sean McDermott's been. He called and left me a voicemail the other day. He put out a little video from the Bills Twitter site. They're all in. Like it's been great. It's a good time to be in Buffalo winning some games. Yeah,
and one of your assistants, Jim Weitzel, his brother Patrick, is a partner at William Morris. You could sell your life rights right now, Nate. You could go Hollywood if you want.
Maybe I need to get Jim on there, right?
Yeah, he's got the connections.
They were out for the game last night. I think there was 10 of them came on a plane from L.A. and came in for the game. They're great dudes. Like, they were really, really good people.
The Hollywood-Buffalo connection meeting up in Idaho. You can't make this stuff up, Nate. You can't.
We just gotta get a potato or something. We gotta come up with some kind of potato, something out here, right?
No, that's carbs. People in Hollywood don't want that, Nate. No carbs.
Yeah, we don't look so good, right?
Something kale. Make something kale. Before I let you go, what are you going to tell your kids about the opportunity here?
We just met. We had breakfast at 10 out here. It's 12:40, so we kind of just did a video session walkthrough. Here's the deal. Like, we're 40 minutes away from making some serious noise, and we've got a shot. Now, Kentucky's a whole nother animal. Arizona was good. They got the number 1 pick in Eisen, and then they had 2 guys that were supposed to be second-rounders. Kentucky's got 3 first-rounders. They spread the floor a little bit more. They make it a little bit harder, with the way we wanted to guard it, and they also guard really well. They're a little bit better defensive team than Arizona, probably a lot better. So we got our hands full, but it's doable. I mean, we make shots, and shoot, Kentucky went 0 for 6 from 3 last night against Davidson. If we can get them to go 0 for again, they probably won't go 0 for, but if they shoot it poorly from 3 and we were 15 for 30 last game, if we can shoot it somewhere close to that, we got a shot at this deal. I think our kids are locked in and know how close they are. The other thing we got going is we got a bunch of juniors. We only got 1 senior in Wes Clark, but he's a 5th-year senior that played in the SEC at Missouri for 3 years, so he's got some experience. We're playing a bunch of kids that were in high school last year. So they're really talented, and you can tell why they're supposed to be lottery picks and first-round picks, but they're also young kids. So we got some experience on our side. We're gonna have a shot at this deal.
Coach, good luck. We will be watching. So will the whole country. And it's been great meeting you. What a great story you and your team are perhaps in the beginning of writing. So I appreciate you calling into the show after a big win.
No, I appreciate you having me on. You guys have a good day.
You too. That's Coach Nate Oats.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.